right now, we're going to talk to legendary wrestling announcer Jim Ross, who has his new book out there. The book is called Under the Black Hat, My Life in the WWE and Beyond. He is now the voice of the AEW Dynamite. And the book is called Under the Black Hat. I will say, Jim Ross is my guest. I just literally ran out of my Jim Ross barbecue sauce that I got, which was actually autographed by Jim Ross himself. I had to break into the autograph bottle because I was out, and that's what this pandemic has brought us. JR, how are you?
I'm good. I appreciate you having me on, Mike. The JRS BBQ is a great place to score that sauce, and we will deliver it right to your front door. So you should not be out. There's no, especially here at the grilling season. This epidemic can't kill our backyard grilling, can
That's
it?
right.
So,
nope. I've been out. I got out there a little early this year because the weather's been nice, and that's why I had to go into the bottle that I had that you autographed for me up at one of your one-man shows here in Philly. And I said, I'm out. I'm going to have to order some more, but so everything seems to be going well. Obviously, the book is out, Under the Black Hat, Your Life in WWE and Beyond. And I want to get into the book, but beyond, too. I mean, you're still going. I mean, AEW, you're still doing commentary. During this time, it's been a little different schedule for you, but this has been like a whole, I don't want to say second life because you had a life before the WWE, but this has been a whole nother rebirth of JR.
Yeah, it's been a great opportunity. I'm very lucky it came around as it did. My contract in WWE ended in end of March of 2019, and right after my wife got killed in March of 17, I signed a 2-year deal with WWE, and didn't work much. I did WrestleMania, which was great, but in 2018, I was booked twice. I went to New York City for Raw 25, sat at the Hammerstein Ballroom with Lawler for 3 hours. We did a 4-minute match, and thanks for coming. And then I did the first trip to Saudi Arabia. And other than that, I was off. So I was ready to move on because I wanted to play. I didn't want to be one of those guys, the old potbelly quarterback on the sideline with a visor and a clipboard. I wanted to play. And so Tony Khan, who has been a big fan of my work since he was a kid, told me I was the voice of his childhood, et cetera, which is nice for negotiations. And he brought me on board. And so the day after my contract ended, I was signed with AEW. They came to my house the next day. My contract ended on a Friday. We had a camera crew and executives here on Saturday, and off we went. So it's been a real blessing for me. Still grieving over my wife's death, things just adjusting, being an empty nester, being 68, now this damn virus is out there. I needed something. And so this Monday I'm going to go back to Jacksonville. I'm going to fly to Atlanta with my mask on and my gloves on and my black hat on. And I'm meeting my old friend Tony Schiavone there in Atlanta, and we're going to drive to Jacksonville in an old school road trip. So, and I'm staying there pretty much the month of May.
I was going to say, you mentioned, the old potbelly quarterback on the sideline. I want to get into that because I know you being a big Oklahoma fan, that you have to have some take on Jalen Hurts and that pick to Philly, because everybody here is up in arms. They don't know why the Eagles took a quarterback, but it sounds as if they look at him as not only more than a quarterback, but a leader and a young man that you want in your building, regardless of the position he plays.
Absolutely. He grew up as an athlete. He grew up in a football family. His dad was a high school coach, a successful one down in Houston. He gets recruited, starts as a freshman for Nick Saban. That ain't easy. Got great. He was there for 3 years or whatever it was. Then he came to work for Lincoln Riley here in Oklahoma, and that refined his quarterbacking skills. He's a much better quarterback than he's perceived to be. I think he's perceived to be more of a runner, throw if you have to, but he's got a good arm. And I think that Doug Peterson's a brilliant offensive mind. I really, truly do. And my friend Lane Johnson, who came by my house about 2 weeks ago to check on me when he was in town, loves him. And we got to keep old Lane healthy. That's the main thing with him. But Jalen, I think Doug Peterson's going to put a package, as they say, talking inside like I'm cool, package in. And, but he'll put a set of plays in that fits Jalen's skill set as of 2020. and I think that they'll maximize the abilities of Jalen. I think he's going to do fine there. He's not coming there to replace Carson Wentz. He's not. He's there to add to Carson Wentz, and more specifically, add to the Philadelphia Eagles offense. That's my look at it. And yeah, I'm biased. I'm an OU devotee, freak. But I believe the guy went to another team that didn't have a head coach that was so offensive minded. I might be not as optimistic, but with Doug Peterson drawing up the plays and knowing what Jalen can or can't do, I think he'll maximize his minutes, as we say, and put a package in there that will just add to the offense. And what that means, Mike, is that the defensive coordinators that come to town, they got to prepare for more than just Carson Wentz.
Right.
They got to prepare for what if the Hurts is in the game? What do we do? What's his tendencies? How do we defend that? So I think it's a good move. And again, Philadelphia fans, first, you don't know what he's talking about. He's an Okie hell. He's out there in never land. But I think that with Peterson calling the plays, it's not a bad pick at all.
No, I like the pick. That's why I thought it was apropos that we, got the chance to have you on to talk a little bit about it. I want to get into the book a little bit. You have Under the Black Hat is kind of the follow-up to Slobber Knocker, your first book. And, everybody there's like three roles of wrestling fans. You got the Saturday morning kids who only remember that group, who's your favorite wrestler? Oh, Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, or you have the Attitude Era people. This new era, where is, the state of wrestling right now and the health of that industry? Because obviously with this going on, it makes it very difficult, but it seems that there's a lot of options out there for the boys, as they say, to kind of work. And, you just mentioned Tony Schiavone. You guys were the voices of Monday Night against each other. Now you two are together, but what do you think of where everything is after maybe, what people remember you from in that 90s era?
Well, I think that the wrestling business is very healthy overall. I think that, AEW signed a 3-year extension with TNT, which is great for our brand. It's great for the talent to know they got some security. Our ratings we've been outperforming NXT on Wednesday nights based on the ratings, which I think is kind of cool. So I think the state of it is pretty healthy, but you still got to deal the same thing that everybody else has to deal with. The damn virus. Mm-hmm. And nobody knows when this is going to be a safe zone to go back and engage. I'm going to be very careful because I'm 68, as I mentioned, high risk group. I'm taking one flight to Atlanta, which is an hour and a half, and I'll be masked up and gloved up and all that stuff, as we mentioned. But then I'm not coming back home until I return home at the end of the month. So I'm going to get on one plane going and one plane coming back. And other than that, I'm going to be by land with Schiavone from Atlanta to Jacksonville. So we all got to deal with that thing. And even the governor of Florida says, well, you can have fans come back. And we're planning on doing nothing but closed set tapings for the month of May.
How do you think that is? Like, obviously, I'm assuming you watched WrestleMania, which is obviously something you've been a huge part of and is the biggest spectacle going. To not have fans there, I mean, I'm a wrestling guy. I've watched. It was different. It was definitely different.
Yeah, it was. I admire the work the guys put in with no audience there to feed off of. But we're going to go live every other Wednesday. So in other words, this Wednesday coming up, we'll be live on TNT at 8/7 Central. Then we'll tape again, I think, the next day for the next Wednesday. So every other Wednesday we're going to be live. And as I got confirmation earlier today from the brass, that we're planning on staying in that closed set scenario throughout the month of May, including our pay-per-view. And they've done a nice job. The talents that are there, the wrestlers that are there that aren't working on the TV show, they kind of comprise the studio audience. But when we all arrive on Tuesday, all the talent, all the crew, everybody arrives on Tuesday, we're all getting blood tested. Everybody's going to be tested for this virus on Tuesday. The results will be back. So by Wednesday, I'm told we'll know who can play and who can't play. But we haven't had any issues with that with our crew. They've been being tested, but it's a massive a blood test. That's another company. So I think we're taking every precaution that we can, and being maybe more cautious than even the governor of Florida recommends.
Jim Ross is my guest. The Voice of Wrestling, Under the Black Hat is his book. You can get it at Amazon. This really talks about the highs and lows of that industry. And if you could take us under the black hat or behind the curtain for something that really stands out that you wrote about in this book that the fans or the listeners would be very intrigued by, that they might not know, because I feel like there's still, as much as wrestling has kind of broke down that fourth wall a little bit, I guess to say, there's still behind that curtain a lot of things that people, and I'm sure during that wild attitude era, would love to hear about.
Yeah, I think so too. And the book is selling great, by the way. We have a nice little offer at my website, jrsbbq.com, where I'm personalizing the first edition books, hardcover, obviously. I'm paying the freight for the lower 48 to get it to you. Never have to leave your house. Just go on the site, order it. It'll be delivered to your door. So there is a lot of stories. I was the executive vice president of that company for a long time. And I was in charge for many of those years of the talent roster, i.e., like a player personnel guy. And so there's a lot of stories behind the scenes that never made TV. That never, just, how did, the weekend I spent with Stone Cold his last weekend as a wrestler, because only 2 or 3 of us knew that was his last match at WrestleMania 19. Slobber Knocker ended at WrestleMania 15. And so I just picked the story up. We went forward. It covers the Attitude Era. It covers the Monday Night Wars. It covers the original XFL launch. It covers me getting fired a couple more times. and unfortunately, another bout of Bell's palsy. But the main thing this book covers, I think, and I'm sentimental, is the fact that my wife died, got killed in a vehicle accident. She was riding her little Vespa home from the gym, and a kid allegedly was on his phone, topped the hill, ran over her as she was turning into our audition. So I passed that spot where she got hit every day when I leave my audition, because that's where she got it. She was that close to being safe, 30 seconds.
Jeez.
So I finished Slobber Knocker just a few weeks after her death. But I didn't cover it much because we already had the books formatted, and here we go. So I wanted to put that in there because I think sometimes us alpha male, egocentric men don't give our significant others the credit that they deserve. And she was such a treasure behind the scenes, and it never been talked about. How she comforted talents. She listened to the guys. She listened to the women, the wives of the talents. She was friends with them. She was just great. And so, but nobody knew that. And because this damn business is so alpha male oriented, nobody's ever written about that side of their career. Right. So I owed it to her to tell her story. And so that's not a large part, but it's a significant part of Under the Black Hat.
Now, I'm interested, I do play-by-play. I'm certainly not Jim Ross, but I do call fights. My color commentary partner is CM Punk. He's who I work with for MMA fights. So I've had a lot of interesting conversations. I'm interested to get your take if you think he will ever return, because I've had many conversations regarding this with him. I have his answer, but I'm interested to see if you have an answer, and if he did return, how he would be received in either company.
Well, I love Phil Brooks, CM Punk. I think he's a class act. He has convictions that he stands up for, a lot of character, just love this game, great talker, as you know. I think he's got more matches in him if he chose to go that direction. But he's not the kind of guy that just craves being in the ring all the time. I think that ship has sailed. But if he came back for one more match, I would love for it to be on pay-per-view on AEW. A nice launch, a good build, have this match. I think it would monetarily benefit everybody involved. But, again, that's going to be Phil's call. But he'll never have a problem finding a place to hang his wrestling hat, so to speak. So, but I'm kind of leaning toward he's not going to do it. But if he came to AEW, one of the big differences AEW and WWE is less politics. I mean, our guys, have no writers. So the guys got to come up with their own promo material. The vignettes are largely talent influenced. So the talents are challenged to become more actively involved in their presentation. So if you get a little skin in the game, you work a little bit harder, a little bit smarter to make sure that it succeeds.
Yeah.
So Phil would have that luxury coming to AEW. But again, I'm kind of on the sitting here looking, guessing, but I'm guessing he's done.
Yeah.
But I wish he wasn't.
That would probably be my guess as well. I don't know that 100%. He doesn't. He just something needed. But I will tell you, I had never called an MMA fight in my life. They hired me to do it, and they said your partner is going to be CM Punk, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And the guy couldn't have been nicer. He couldn't have been nicer. Welcomed me right away. Texts me all the time. I mean, just a down to earth human being. And I was wondering, obviously when he left, he was on top of that game. It seemed like he was one of the guys that if he wanted to keep doing it, would probably be in your business. They would say a moneymaker, a big draw, right? I mean, and that's what that
absolutely.
business is all about.
CM Punk's one of the great stars of the last generation of pro wrestling. He's one of my favorite in-ring performers, without question.
Yeah,
I love this. The pipe bomb promo that WWE put him on the map, but that was him. He got to create that content, and that's not always the case there, which I think served as a point of frustration for CM Punk.
Yeah,
and that's why I say again, I'm recruiting here, but he doesn't have those issues in AEW. It's a team effort, and the talents are not only encouraged, but they're basically
required.
Required to, hey, what are you bringing to the table? Don't be a cabbage, all head, no rear end. What do you got here? Bring us something. I think he'd have fun doing it, but again, he's got a good marriage, which is unusual for wrestlers to marry wrestlers to have a good marriage.
Yeah.
I think the world of him, and but whatever he would want to do, I would fully support. But nonetheless, I'm biased. I wish he was in our company so I could call his matches. I'm just playing my whole hand here. I would love calling one of his big matches for the latter part of his career.
I think I might like to hear that too, by the way. That would be cool. Under the Black Hat, My Life in the WWE and Beyond. Jim Ross, the voice of wrestling. Wednesday nights, AEW Dynamite. You can listen to him still with commentary, and the book is at Amazon, wherever you buy books. Don't forget JR BBQ. You can get all of the sauces and mustards and anything you want to purchase. I certainly recommend the barbecue sauce. It's outstanding. And like I said, I'm just out right now. I'm going to have to reorder. But Jim Ross has been our guest here, and he gave us a little Jalen Hurts nuggets as well. JR, appreciate the time. Anytime, my friend. Anytime. Let me know, and I'm happy to jump on. I love talking sports. Yeah, man. Jim Ross, everybody, the voice of wrestling here on the Sports Bash. AEW Wednesday nights, AEW Dynamite, the book, Under the Black Hat, My Life in the WWE and Beyond.